Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, founder of GSD, Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai. We believe at GSD that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. So with that, on Top Global Startups today, we're going to have an incredible guest. So Tracie Wagman is the CEO of Cold Ventures, and I want to hear about this. LLC and Cold Vest, tailored to highlight her expertise. We're going to talk about our expertise and achievements and insights on entrepreneurship, innovation, and sustainability. So with that, I'd like to bring Tracie on board. Hi, Tracie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So I have a question for you. So where are you right now? Are you in LA?
I'm in LA, yeah.
So why did you go to Toronto?
I'm actually from Toronto. I'm originally Canadian.
Now, how different is it living in LA compared to living in Toronto, besides the weather?
Let's just say I don't really like to be cold.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And how are the people? How much different are the people in LA compared to Canada?
I really like LA. I've met some incredible people. I live in a very walkable sort of residential area. I live near the water. And luckily I work from home. So I don't have the driving commute that people talk about. So for me, I don't use my car. I use my car once a week, and I know my neighbors, and I walk to the beach. So I love it here. I'm pretty
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to tackle heat stroke specifically, and how does Cold Vest technology uniquely address this issue? I mean, a lot of people don't talk about it, but it's a big deal. I've known people here. In fact, today it's 108 degrees down in Florida.
Yeah, I know. I was just in Florida last week, and it was so hot. It's an interesting thing. People sort of use the term heat stroke and don't always know exactly what it means. When this opportunity was presented to me, I did some research on heat stroke and heat illness kind of globally. And when I learned that nobody ever should die of heat stroke, it's 100% preventable if you are prepared, I couldn't not work on it. And I noticed, every year it's getting hotter and hotter, earlier and earlier, and to the point now where heat is really a massive topic across the globe. And so it was something I couldn't not do, basically, when I found out that no one should ever die. And it's just a matter of preparation.
And so walk us through, what is, I remember when I was a kid, actually, we had these solutions. You would put these headbands on and they would get really cool. Yeah. I don't know what they were. They were, they would cool your head. I used them for tennis. Yeah. But how does your rapid cooling solution actually work? And what makes it innovative compared to traditional cooling methods?
Right. So thank you. So great question. So to properly treat someone who is in acute heat stroke, what's happening is their core organs are burning inside. So you can't even really measure their temperature with a regular thermometer. So core body temperature needs to be taken down as fast as possible. When that starts happening, you have 30 minutes to bring core body temperature down before it can honestly be fatal or you have permanent organ damage. The gold standard to treat heat stroke is an ice bath. So get somebody fully immersed in ice up to their neck and keep them in there until their body temperature drops. That is not always available, depending on where you work, where you play, where you live. And so our product doesn't require any ice, power, or refrigeration. So we have a product that is activated with liquid, with water. And when you add water to a cold vest, which is not a wearable, it's actually more of a blanket, when the chemicals inside are met with water, it creates an endothermic reaction that immediately freezes. So we bring core body temperature down from life-threatening to safe in like 22 minutes. and with no ice or power. So that's the difference. So we can be in those settings where ice just isn't available or accessible or practical.
And now, who are your customers?
It's a crazy thing, as you can imagine, in the startup world, going, well, anyone who works or plays in extreme heat, but that's who our customers are. Anyone who works or plays in extreme heat, indoor or outdoor, who doesn't have access to an ice bath. So we work with schools, teams, pro teams even, and we work with a lot of construction, oil and gas, pulp and paper, like indoor workers, manufacturing. So that's who we're really working with. We've just started talking to the military and EMS.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So, you've built and scaled multiple companies. What are some of the core lessons you've learned about taking startups from early stages to exits?
I think you got to be able to pivot and be flexible. I mean, you would know this as well as I do. We sort of went down the road thinking, oh, this is how everybody's going to buy and it's going to be so, and it wasn't anything like what we thought. And so we quickly had to move into this direction. And we thought, oh, we're going to be able to sell like this and marketing's going to work like this. And it didn't work. And we had to pivot and we had to be open to that and move quickly. So the ability to be flexible and, learn quickly is, I think it's key.
So, what's your approach to balancing innovation and profitability? How do you go down through and, because the whole thing is, we want to get sales to sales, right? But how do you balance it? Because innovation is important if you want to stay ahead.
Yeah, you're right. It's a tough one. I mean, we're like almost a mission-based company, but we're still for profit. So how do I, work on making sure I have revenue, but everybody has accessibility to cold vest? It's a tough one. We were lucky enough to have a patent on this. So the product is made. And so we didn't have to change anything to start with. How we're targeting innovation going forward is we're continuing to do research and testing with a research facility called the Corey Stringer Institute in order to help us inform the next products we should make. So how could we cool faster? Do we need something that isn't an emergency product, but actually treats people more preventatively? And continuing to talk to our customers. So here's what works in an emergency, but what isn't working for you right now. So, and then how much money we're going to spend on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is, I don't know, science and art.
Yeah, no, you got to, but that's part of it, right? It's always a balancing act. You've been described as both an entrepreneur and intrapreneur. How do these two different roles how do they differ, these roles, because they can be diametrically opposed? And which one do you like? Which one do you enjoy more?
I mean, I think it depends what day you ask. Sometimes it's great to work at a big company that has a focus on entrepreneurial focus because you're supported. You have a team that you're supported by, and that can be great. And other times it can be a constraint. So luckily for me, most of the companies I've worked at did have an entrepreneurial bent and really liked my kind of behavior, which is like, let's do it. What can't we do? And let's go faster. Being an entrepreneur is also incredible because there's so much freedom, but it can be lonely. So, and I have to know a little bit about a lot of things and then figure out the expertise I need to bring in. So I think it depends what day you ask me. Right now, I'm loving working on cold vest.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
As a senior executive, what strategies you use to build and then motivate successful teams? How do you get them excited?
I really make sure that everybody understands the vision, the mission and the vision. Like, this is what we're doing, and this is how we're going to make a difference. The first people I brought on were 2 students, and some of their work was just gathering data, and it seemed really menial. And I said, every single name you gather makes a huge difference to this company, and here's how we're going to use that information. So I like to make sure everybody understands how their role impacts the broader vision of the company.
How have digital transformation and omni-channel strategies influenced your approach at Coldvest?
When we started, we thought, okay, we thought we were going to do everything. We're going to do digital advertising. We're going to do marketing. We're going to do sales. We're going to do, and so we thought, oh, this is going to work on every level. And we quickly learned it wasn't. And we had sort of poured a lot of focus into one channel or all of them, but one in particular. And again, we had to stop and re-strategize how we were going to, best approach this. So I think we use omnichannel a lot, and not everything works for every company. We quickly sort of moved from a marketing organization to a sales organization, and we're really focused on sales.
How did technologies, Trace? I mean, you've been around the block a few years like me, right? You have a lot of experience. You go down through it, but how did these technologies, this generative AI, digital agents, all this stuff, how much different is the world today for you in building a company than it was 5 years ago?
What's so interesting is I love technology, and I think when it's used properly, it can help so many aspects of your company, your personal life and your company. So it's incredible. Like, I've used AI to help me. I have an entire sales tech stack and a marketing tech stack. And what I've noticed is there's just almost so much, it's hard to actually figure out which one you need, which component of each one you need. And then where I'm at now as I grow is, how do they all talk to each other?
Well, that's, we call it infobesity. I've written a lot of articles about that.
That's a good word.
Almost 100 of them, actually. Yeah. And so this infobesity problem, I mean, think about it in Tracie's world. Just in your world, you got about 300,000 items in your personal cloud, and the entire web in 1996 was 257,000 websites. You have more information in your personal cloud, the entire web. The problem is your world's following the same trajectory, which means doubling every year. In 5 years, you're going to have 10 million items. Think about this. You're a smart lady, right? You went to Western, if I recall, right, for your MBA. But how many times the last 2 weeks somebody said, hey, Tracie, I sent you a message. Did you get it? Where'd you send it? I sent it through email. Which one? I don't remember. Let me check. Will you send it again? And now we use things like WhatsApp to filtering tools because we're so inundated. We don't know what's real and not anymore, right? There's like crazy stuff coming. I get DocuSigns that look like they're real and they're not.
Totally. Those scams are actually terrifying. I mean, I just got something from my lawyer yesterday, and I was like, you guys, like, I'm not opening this. I need to know before you send me something because I can't open things.
I'm in the same boat. I get the stuff, now they're getting a lot better because they're using these tools to get, understand you, right?
Yeah, totally.
And then, it's interesting. So, and we got to be careful, right? On one side, there's a good use of the tools. On the other side, the bad use. On the other side, we've got too much data. And if you can't figure it out, you can't win.
It's funny. I used to think, oh, I'm great. Like, people can reach me in any medium. I'll get back to you in WhatsApp, in LinkedIn, on TikTok, on Instagram, or email. And I was at a conference last week in Orlando, and I had a meeting with someone, and I had to leave urgently before our meeting. And I was scrambling, trying to find his email to tell him, and I couldn't find it. Turns out we made the whole meeting on LinkedIn. And I just gapped, like, didn't even remember that. And I thought, oh God, like, there's too much now.
Well, that's it. And then
keep up with it.
You need these tools. I've been using 14 large language models as their mime, something we built to be able to help me to siphon through data. So essentially created a think tank. So not one, but many. And so they go down through. In fact, it listened. It's listening to the conversation. It going down through and giving me questions.
No way. That's amazing.
Yeah, because it knows everything about you, right? It's unbelievable.
Oh God. Okay.
I mean, it's amazing. So
what's interesting is, in this digital world and in the product that I sell and the company that I run, what's helped me the most is face-to-face conferences and actually going to conferences and talking to people.
Because people don't get enough of it anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
So
it used
that's
to
our
be go out
strategy
and have
now.
a drink and talk, and it
Yeah.
was kind of nice. And it's like, no, people don't have the time because they're
Yeah.
scrambling. You know, we don't have a downtime. You're always on the phone, you
Yeah.
know, always, right? There's always something going on. And if it's not an email, it's LinkedIn or Facebook or WhatsApp or Telegram or something else.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. So, we're coming up to the top of the show, and I want to make sure I get. So, given your broad experience, what advice would you give to founders looking to disrupt established industries? First part, and then what do you see as the next major trend in consumer tech or health tech that entrepreneurs should pay attention to?
Oh God. What advice would I give? I think don't be scared if you don't have experience in the industry. Don't think you need to know everything. If you have an idea, surround yourself with ask questions, surround yourself with people who know, ask a lot of questions, take a lot of meetings. Most of the time, it might have changed now. People will listen to you and help you and ask you questions. So I think don't be afraid if you don't have experience. You can do anything. You can figure it out. Just make sure you ask the right questions, and you don't need to know it all. I don't know if that. What's the next trend? I mean, I don't know what the next trend is, but I do see sort of some veer back to face and connection in some way. And we all work remote at our company, but it's an interesting thing when I think about the customers I'm selling to and how I'm making a difference in their life. We're using all these tools, but somehow we need connection more than ever.
No, I agree with you. And I write about I'm building AI models now that have empathy and compassion like your grandmother. So they're actually thinking about you,
Yeah.
right? And right now it's thinking about you. This what it just it said to me. It says ask her, right, with the rising threats of climate change, how do you see companies like Cold Vest contributing to a broader sustainability and social responsibility efforts? That's right from the AI right now.
That's a great question. I've noticed in the conversations I've been having with many climate change people and people in the space, nobody disagrees with rising heat. Not one person. So whether or not you believe in climate change, we all know it's getting hotter. There's a focus now on how are we going to adapt, and what products and innovations do we need to adapt. So that's where I see the next conversations on, at least on extreme heat. How can we adapt and create products and innovate to help everybody, people, anybody who's in extreme heat?
And it just came back now. It said it wants me to ask you this, right?
Oh,
It
God.
says, ask her about what her thought is on the role of businesses in driving meaningful change in society. You must have something out there about societal change somewhere because,
I don't know. I think what I love about what I do in these conversations is we have created an innovative product to treat extreme heat. And we need companies to help create innovations that, no matter what, like we can't get away from innovation. And so what I'd love to see is more innovation in this space.
the thing is, I have a little bit of a climate tech background myself.
Mhm.
So, the average temperatures around the world could go up to 11 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of this century.
Right.
People don't realize that the average sea levels, that's average, could be 16 feet higher by the end of this century.
It's
If
crazy.
the Antarctic and Greenland start to melt, which they are, right?
Yeah.
It could go up 198 feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're talking about profound changes and these kind of things, you know. So as we're going through this heat, um, there's going to be so many shifts in society and
Yeah.
so many. It's 108 degrees. It's never been 108 degrees in Florida since I've been down here. Never.
I've
I've
talked to
never.
people in Texas who had 3 digits in May, and they said, "We've never had it in May." I think, places will become uninhabitable, and we are gonna have to change how we work and play.
Yeah, and if we better care about this planet a lot more than we do now because this planet is, telling us, it doesn't like what's going on, and you're not going to like it when it starts to turn to the dark side. nothing good's going to happen. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So listen, closing thoughts, and how do people get a hold of you, Tracie?
You can reach me at tracie@coldvest.com, TRACIE @coldvest.com, or go to our website, coldvest.com. And I'm happy to talk to anyone about a startup, demystifying startups, or Cold Vest and heat.
Yeah, we'll have to get you. I have the last time I did our demo day. So I have a venture studio, and we've got a family office and a PR company and a software development. We got a lot of different parts of GSD, but one of the things we had is our demo day, and we had about 10,000 people attend.
Wow.
For 7 companies, and we had 300 investors officially attend, and then 40 top judges, and from some of the very well-known families. So we'll have to get you to come in as
I would love to.
Yeah, get you on board. I'll have my team reach out to you.
Thank
you. No, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today, Tracie. And I wish you luck.
This conversation with you and AI has
been great. It's just come up with some more. You know what I mean? It's actually, I built this stuff, and it's kind of interesting because it helps. It's like, I made it like my grandmother, by the way.
Yeah.
So that loves you and cares about you. And when I have an issue, when I can't think about something, I have an emotional issue, I actually talk to it. So I actually created my own digital twin.
Wow.
And so
oh my God.
It's like talking to yourself, but for real.
You are right out of a movie.
Yeah, I don't know about the movie, but it's interesting. It's the future. It's going to happen.
I mean, we ought to lean in. How are we going to?
I mean, so for instance, for your company, just FYI, some of the things you might want to think about, there's some ways to use AI to be able to service your customers in an entirely different way.
Yeah.
Using kind of your compassionate feelings that you have towards this topic, but to get it out, to be able to help you get sales, I'm serious, like 10x your sales.
Maybe you could help me with that offline.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. I'll have my team reach out to you. I have some ideas on that side. But anyhow, thanks for taking time.
Thank you, and we're going to say thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks so much. Bye.